Hi there. Hi. My name's Claire Smitty. I'm the programming coordinator here at the Wheeler Centre, and welcome to Lunchbox Soapbox. If you haven't been to Lunchbox Soapbox before, it's a weekly, every Thursday lunchtime event where we hand over to our writers where they get to sound off on a topic of their choice for 20 minutes. This week and for the next 3 weeks, we're partnering with the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, presenting 4 special Lunchbox Soapboxes with guests of the festival. And today we're absolutely delighted that we're welcoming Catherine Deveny. Catherine is a comedy writer, columnist, stand-up comedian and author of Free to a Good Home, Say When, and It's Not My Fault They Print Them. She's premiering her one-woman show, God is Bullshit, at this year's Comedy Festival. Today, Catherine will be telling us how becoming an atheist made her a writer and how becoming a writer made her an atheist. Please welcome Catherine Deveny.
Thanks, everybody. I'm actually opening my show tonight, so if I shit my pants on stage, it's not you. It's probably the fact that Barry Jones, Peter Singer and Bill Shorten are all going to be in the audience tonight. At the same time, I actually have this tiny theory that the 3 of them are dating, like, together, and it's kind of, oh, wow, look, oh, you're there, and wow. And then, anyway, they say, can you please give me that goat you used in your performance, because we could do with that after the show. I actually was thinking on the way in, because I got called to do this, and I went, fabulous. And on the way in, I was actually, because I gave Claire a few suggestions of things that I can say, because clearly I can't fucking shut up. And, you know, it's not bad enough that I'm bloody everywhere at the moment. I'm hoping after this show to go into a monastery. And if I can't go into a monastery, I think I'll go and move to Nagambie. Has anybody been to Nagambie? No? Good. Okay. Nagambie is a great place to go for a holiday if you like places that are shit. And this is not related to anything, but I just thought I'd let you know, because I went there for a couple of weeks over Christmas. Don't ask, long story, it was cheap, okay? And a lot of people don't realise this, but Nagambie is the home of Australia's most successful bogan breeding program. Okay? They have more Aidens, Badens, Haydens, Cadens and Jadens per head of population than anywhere in the world, including Reservoir, where I grew up. I know there's some people from interstate who are not familiar with Reservoir. You know the big banana and the big prawn? Okay. Reservoir's home of the big 12-year-old single mother with tats and crabs. So please feel free to come down and have a look at that. Okay, so on the way in I was thinking what I should have said is how being a dyslexic made me an atheist, and how becoming an atheist made me a writer. Because I'm dyslexic, and 10% of people are dyslexic. Does anybody here know that they're dyslexic? No? Okay, well 10% of you are. So I'll just... I mean, it's fine. Look, how about I just diagnose? I'll say... from Sean Dooley back. You guys are pretty much dyslexic, but don't worry, because 10% of people are dyslexic, but 60% of Nobel Prize winners are dyslexic. So that doesn't mean that 60% of dyslexics will win a Nobel Prize. But just between you and me, I'm pretty confident, okay? If not for bullshit, then anything else. But also dyslexics are half the prison population. So, Albert Einstein, dyslexic, Leonardo da Vinci, dyslexic, Jorn Utzon, who designed the Sydney Opera House, dyslexic, was meant to be square, but that's what happens when you give a dyslexic a job. Look what I've done to those columns. 2 of my sons are dyslexic too. And I do think, and dyslexics, we see things, I did find out I was dyslexic when I turned up to a toga party dressed as a goat. So if anybody's ever done that, that's probably a good sign that you're either dyslexic or retarded. So when you're dyslexic, you see everything from an aerial perspective, and you're a big problem solver. You're not very good on details, but you're extremely good at seeing everything from an aerial perspective. So you're good at problem solving, but you're a really bad driver. I mean, I myself have been fined twice this week for not wearing a seatbelt. How about that? Fuck you, money. Shows how distracted I am. But see, that's kind of, that's like, I can get a million things done. I mean, yes, I didn't wear a seatbelt, but I wrote an entire column on my phone while I was driving, right? That's really kind of typical dyslexic thing. So from a very young age, you know, like you're brainwashed, but you're questioning at the same time. And that's kind of, I talk about this a lot in my show, but what happened was, like, I was a hack comedy writer and a really shit stand-up. And I got this television column writing on the back of the H, on the back of the A2, which was fabulous. Location, location, location. I love waking up. You know, it was Lunig above me, and every Saturday morning waking up underneath a middle-aged, middle-class white man, which was great. And I'm not there anymore, but what happened was they gave me this job, and they said, somebody's gone away for 4 weeks, will you take it over? So I've worked in television, I've watched television, I've been on television, and so I didn't see the limitations that most people see because I'm dyslexic or retarded. You choose, and you can vote on the way out. And so I just wrote what I thought was clearly logical and was saying, oh, wow, this is pretty way out. So anyway, that picked up a bit of pace. And then after the 4 weeks, when I thought, I knew it was the last of the 4 weeks, and so I thought, look, I'm going to get the sack next week anyway. So I started the column with, I think, something like, if you enjoy watching celebrities eat their own vomit, tune in on Sunday night to Channel 9 because the Logies is back on again. And then I said, thanks for the gig. They went, no, 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 don't you go anywhere, you come back here. And I went, oh, great, I can put some pyjamas on lay-by for the kids. So I did. Guess who's getting lunch orders? They were very excitement. And so I did that. Anyway, so I kept writing and writing and writing. And you get to about January, and there's not much on the telly, you know. Well, there is. It's just not much you want to watch. So, and the outside's on with all of the barbecues and the lights and stuff. And so I decided to write an article about a show called Maths for You at Home. Have you seen that? Maths for You at Home, Channel 10. It's been on at the same time on the same station for over 40 years, right? So I wrote something about that, and then I talked about Hillsong, which goes on afterwards. And anyway, surprisingly, a television column became the subject of a huge letters debacle on the opinion page. And it's kind of funny because I never went into the office. And there was a guy called Archbishop Dennis Hart who wrote a letter saying, like on the Monday, like the column was in on the Saturday, saying, how dare she talk about the Catholic Church and not mention all the good stuff that we do. I mean, I didn't mention the fact that they're child abusers either, but I didn't mention that. Anyway, so that was kind of on. And then I get this phone call, and this will be funny for people who kind of understand the paper. Phone call going, oh, hello, this is Linda from Andrew Jasper's office. He'd like to have a meeting with you. And I said, who are you and who's he? And he said, he's the editor of the Age newspaper, which I'd been writing for about 10 years, and he'd been the editor for 2. And I said, oh, I thought that was Sally Heath, who was the woman who actually edited me in the section. He said he'd like to have a meeting with you. So I said to a friend, can you come over and look after the kids? Who works at the Age. I've got to go in and have a meeting with a guy called Andrew Jasper. Now, this fellow at the time was holding 2 bags, and he dropped them, saying, you're fucked. You've been sacked or you're being sued. Anyway, it was very close to that, because what happened was I went in and I was, you know, pigtails, fishnets, boots, you know, just because I thought, well, if I'm going to get sacked, I'm going to go out with a song. And I had this kind of whole scenario worked out in my head where I kind of, what did I do? I bought a pen and I stirred his coffee with it, and then I straightened his tie, and then I said, you couldn't handle half of me, sweetheart, and then I kicked him in the face and walked out. But didn't happen. Big love-in, so much of a love-in. Love your stuff, love what you're doing. At that point I went, I'm Catherine Deveny, under Lunig, back page 18. They said, we'd like you to write an opinion column. And I fucking kid you not, I don't read newspapers. I'm functionally illiterate, right? As anybody who's read my stuff will probably go, yeah, I kind of get that. They have 2 sub-editors just for me, and that's not even when I'm on. That's just for me to be able to speak, you know? So I go, oh, so I go in, they go, will you write an opinion column? And I said, wow. And I'm thinking, flannelette pyjamas, maybe the kids will get flannelette sheets for winter. And I said, yeah, cool. Catherine Deveny, yeah, same one. All right. The only thing is that I don't really read newspapers. Actually, I don't read newspapers at all. I get my information from the, the cleaner or the guy that, down at the shops or the mums at the school or talking to people that I meet when I'm walking the dog. And he said, no, that's good. That's what we want. We want the suburban perspective. And I said, yeah. And I said, because, I scan the headlines of, the New York Times and The Guardian and the Tokyo Journal and stuff. And he said, yeah, that's what we want. What we want is the global perspective. And I said, yeah, that suburban global perspective, that's a really, really big market and getting bigger. Anyway, so they gave me a, I've got to check the time. See, clearly the thing is that I can talk all night, and I will be tonight at the Trades Hall because I open my show. And to be absolutely honest, and I cannot lie, and there's a couple of people in the audience who've known me for years and years, I cannot lie. This is the best thing that I've ever written, and it's the thing that I'm most proud of that I've ever done. So I cannot wait, and I'm so thrilled. So if you don't come along, well, I can't do anything about that, really. Go to hell, and I'll smite you. So I get this opinion column, and, well, I'd been having this... Well, basically, the opinion column was about being an atheist. But the thing is that I was basically a Catholic before I wrote the column. And it was something like called I'm an Atheist for Jesus. And the thing is, how long have I got? I had people pestering me constantly all the time about things like going, listen, I don't get this. Okay, so you're not married, you have 3 children, and you don't go to church yet. You pray, believe in God, and call yourself a Catholic. And I'd respond with back off, it's my faith, it's my business, don't question me. And they go, no, hang on. You are a feminist and a socialist, yet you belong to a church run entirely by blokes in frocks and party hats who are either child molesters, hypocrites or virgins. They, abuse children, oppress women, persecute homosexuals. They're in my ear constantly and stuff going, so do you believe in Adam and Eve? No. Well, what about Noah's Ark? Oh, of course not. Of course. How about the Immaculate Conception? Well, no. What about I don't know, Christ's resurrection? Then I'd just generally say, back off. It's my faith. It's my question. So I had this I believed in God, right? And so that was this first column that I wrote from nowhere, and all these people who'd been emotionally bludgeoning me at dinner parties rang me up and said, right, so you're an atheist. And I said, how did you know? And they said, I read about it in the newspaper. So I became, I didn't become an atheist. I mean, I didn't convert to being an atheist. I reverted to it because we're all children are born atheists. So I reverted to being an atheist. And when I became an atheist, I mean, suddenly everything, the blinkers were off my whole life, the way I thought about something. Because the thing is that you can't question religion. This is the kind of a thing that infects everything. Okay, now I've read the Bible now. And if you haven't read the Bible, you probably should, because we need more atheists, right? Seriously, they say the kind of, the rape, the torture, the incest, the violence, the racism, that's just like a tiny bit. It's fucking not. Right? It's the whole way through. And you read it and you just kind of go, man, hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of languages, thousands of years, and all these different versions. And the only thing they can all agree on is sexism, homophobia, racism, xenophobia, sing along if you know the words. So you just kind of go and you understand how children's brains are malleable, right? They're malleable in order for us, because we're only here for 2 things. One is to survive, and the other one is to procreate, okay, to keep our species going. So we want to give our kids the best chance of survival. So the kids have been, they're evolved to have these very mushy brains, so we can imprint stuff into them like, don't eat those berries because you might die. Okay, so religion has mined this evolutionary loophole of when their brains are nice and soft to implant these things in, and they basically, between words like things like fire burns, which they can feel, little kids, and lions eat people, which they can also feel, in the middle they go, and by the way, there's an invisible friend in the sky who does magic tricks when no one watches you. And if you don't do what he wants, which is basically what we want, you're going to go to hell, right? And so you kind of, you know, you get that and you kind of go, oh my God, it's just like the blinkers are off. It's like suddenly being able to see one of those 3D optical illusions in the back of the weekend paper and go, I get it, but how have we all been sucked in for so long? I mean, how you know, you just kind of go, religion and patriarchy are enabling each other through mining the kind of cultural and psychological leg up holes in our emotional caveman, you know, because we want to feel safe and loved, and we do feel fear. And women's biggest fear is men killing them, and women's biggest fear is men laughing at them. So it's all kind of all hooked in together, and it really has appealed to our inner emotional caveman. But we've evolved beyond that. So suddenly I could see everything, and I was flabbergasted at how many allowances and exceptions I'd made for religion. You know, I was like, well, yeah, right, so hang on, so you're eating the flesh and blood of Christ there, you're wearing a burqa, you're being circumcised, you don't eat beef, you don't eat pork, you don't eat fish on Friday. Okay, you are a grown man, not allowed to have sex, you're a woman who's had her genitals sewn up, and you're a 70-year-old man who's got 8 wives, some younger than your granddaughter, but you love someone of the same gender, so you're going to hell. Hang on, are you mental? What are you talking? Oh, it's religion, that's fine then. So when you suddenly, it's like standing really close to a picture and you suddenly, you know, like the brainwashing is so deep, you know, it's so deep. And I wasn't searching, I wasn't questioning, I wasn't having any kind of spiritual breakdown. Just one day I woke up, I opened my eyes, I looked around, and where there was once a house that I didn't even know was there, one by one, all the walls had collapsed. And suddenly I was standing in the open, and there was no house, and there never had been a house, but I could see everything, and it was beautiful, and there was nothing there. And it was even better, because that's the thing, you know, there's no life after death, but there's plenty of life before it. And if you're thinking that life comes after death, you're going to live in fear. And it is, as Bill Hicks says, my favourite comedian, the truth, it's, you know, a choice between truth and love. Let me have a look at this. And so when I've got one more minute, and then I'm going to be signing books at the back, and I'd love to have a chat, because I know some of you have to go back to work. And I want to say thank you very much for coming. It's really great to see you. So that's the thing. Religion, when you are brought up with religion, and you're brought up in a civilised society like here, where we have this society based on the Bible, which is nothing more than a weapon of mass oppression, right? When you take all of that, when you take that kind of, those restrictions off, those invisible electric fences that have been created by fear, those social rumble strip of convention that have been created by fear, those cattle prods of, please don't ask that question, and don't ask me that question, because behind that question is a scary, scary place that I don't even want to know exists. When you are taught that one subject is off limits to rational thought and critical thinking, it affects the way that you think about everything. So when I took those off, suddenly I could see everything, and I could see all these invisible fences, and every time I walked towards one, it would disappear. But it was only because I became an atheist. Becoming an atheist has made me a better person, a better writer. And I'm going to finish with this, which is one of my favourite quotes, which is, you're going home in the back of a Deveny. No, it's not. Galileo said, I do not feel obliged to believe that the same God who gave us sense, intellect and reason intended us to forgo their use. But what would he know? Founder of modern science. Hey, thanks for coming. Enjoy your day. I'll be signing at the back. Good on you. Oh, one other thing. Peace be with you.
Catherine's show, God is Bullshit, is starting at Trades Hall tonight and is on until the 18th of April. And as she said, she'll be at the back at the readings book table signing afterwards. Lunchbox Soapbox returns next week with another guest of the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, so we hope to see you then. Please thank me in joining Catherine Deveny one more time.